All right, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Kind of wrapping up Saturday. You go back watching the film. Really proud of our guys for the way that they were able to come into the game and really dominate throughout the course of that game. I know there was some moments where we didn't play as clean and football as we wanted to. There were some mistakes that were made. Offensively there early. I thought they did a great job in their response to throughout the course of the game to be as explosive and productive as we were able to be. Throughout the four quarters. I mean, I was definitely impressed with the work those guys put in. That was a good defense that we played against, one that hadn't really given up that type of output to just a couple teams throughout the season. So I thought our guys played well. I thought they did a really nice job. They prepared well through the bye week, and it showed up. We do have to clean up some of the mistakes that hurt us, and that we had to over some of the things we had to overcome. But all in all, I thought it was a good performance. Defensively, I thought it was absolutely dominant in the first half. Guys played hard. They played very explosive. Numerous TFLs. Really attacked the. That offense and made the quarterback uncomfortable throughout. Really able to stop the run game. There in the second half, they had the surprise onside. Coming out of halftime, they were able to make a couple plays, and we had a bust there that left a guy free. There was a few of those things that showed up that we have to clean up, and unfortunately, it's some of those situations where you have a mistake out there on the field, and guys get to the sideline and they can tell you what should have happened immediately, and that's a frustrating thing because they know what to do, but in the moment, just for whatever reason, a lack of focus or just a momentary hesitation. Those are things that we need to continue to grow in. But I thought our defense played really well throughout. They had the one touchdown drive, and then obviously the last drive of the game. We were able to get a lot of young players in. Still need to be able to finish and keep them out of the end zone there on that last drive. But I thought our defense did a really good job. They were good on third downs. Good throughout the course of the game. Like I said, there's about 4 or 5 plays that we'd like to have back, but I thought it was definitely a dominating performance. We still missed an opportunity, had a couple opportunities at creating takeaways, and we got to continue to improve when it comes to that as well. Special teams. I thought we were able to. You had the surprise onside, which something we talked to our guys about throughout the course of the week, and just when it showed up in the moment, there was a hesitation. You had a young player that knew was confident what was coming, but didn't really do had a hesitation in it, and you didn't allow them to recover the ball. But I thought our coverage units did a really nice job. Actually it was just our kickoff covered. They put good speed on the field. Didn't have any opportunities there. I thought it was great to see our punt return unit. There were some short kicks that we didn't have an opportunity to be able to return, but then we did have I think it was another 20 plus yard return that showed up, and I think that's however many straight weeks that we've been able to have an explosive return within our punt return unit. And that was a big point of emphasis for us in the off season, and I think that you see that that belief in our guys and what we're doing in regards to that. But I thought all in all it was a really good game. Guys came out of the game. What I appreciated, I told them this yesterday. Everybody's excited when you win, especially when you go. It was a stretch there. We had some really close games and tough outcomes. Here in the middle part of the season, and so when you win, there's a great celebration for that. It was great to be in the locker room with them, and to be able to feel that. But also understanding there were still plays that we were not our best, and that is a standard. That is what we're pushing towards, and that's what we came back to work yesterday. And I thought our guys had a great mindset and attitude. It's Miami week. We know the opportunity that's ahead, and we're excited for what this game means to our program. And this is it's a great week for our team, for our fan base, for the rivalry that is I think one of the greatest in all of college football. It's my first opportunity to be able to go down there and play this game on the road. Unfortunately, a few years ago I was due to COVID, I wasn't able to make the trip, and probably one of the hardest experiences I've ever had in my life. And but we're excited about what this week means, and just the opportunity, and really looking forward to the week of preparation.
All right, first question will be Ira to your right.
You guys have obviously had a lot of success on offense this season, particularly Saturday, but all season, both with the explosive plays, but also sustained drives. When you look at the offense, do you still feel like there's still a long way to go, or is this, or are you guys getting close to where you need to be?
Yeah, I like what I like what we've shown. There's been, we talked about it a little bit, even last week. Just throughout, when you go back and you look at the things that have hurt us in times and moments, it's really been a lot of self-inflicted issues. And I think you've seen growth from our offense. I think you see the explosiveness. I think you see guys that have a lot of confidence in what we're doing. We've been very balanced, which I love, and being able to establish the run, the explosive plays that have showed up in passing game, it's those self-inflicted issues that that you can't have, whether it's a drop pass, whether it's a penalty, turning the ball over, putting the ball on the ground. Those things, that's what's hurt us in the times we've not been successful. But I think we're really close, and we're playing at a high level, one of the most explosive offenses in the country, and that's something you have to earn each week. And we knew last week. You looked at Georgia Tech team. It was good. They had a lot of good players, and especially when you get out there on game day, you see their size, their speed. That was I thought our guys embraced the challenge for that, and they showed up and they played at a high level. We had our mistakes and things that did cost us even in that game, but I really loved our response and how those guys were able to go out there and compete and battle. And we know that this week ahead we've got another great challenge, a defense that's been playing really well, and coming off a really dominant performance. They're on their end, and so I know we're going to have to work at a high level, but I really like our guys. I like the way that our guys have developed and grown, and how they're pushing to kind of set themselves apart to what we believe we're capable of.
All right, come to Brendan on your left.
There were a couple of pretty clear hustle plays from Jordan in the game, the fumble return and him going across the field, and him also getting out and blocking once on an option concept. I'm not sure if you guys necessarily want that or not, but for that guy to be at that position, making those plays, how important is that for you?
No, that's really good. And yesterday there was one play that I showed to our team, and it was the fumble, and it was as disappointing of a play that it was. it was a play that you can sit there and you can show identity, heart, the hustle, and Jordan, who was on the far sideline, at the 2-yard line, and just to sprint and to be able to get in on that tackle to help give one more play, and he's not the only one. Which on TV you probably only see a smaller part of it. But when you watch all of the guys that are down in the end zone, that are turning and sprinting and running, that might be 40, 50 yards away from it, but the effort of how they pursued the ball, I respect that. And I told the team that. I go, and then the defense was put in an extremely tough situation there early in the game, and they were able to hold Georgia Tech to a field goal, and I respected that, because you didn't have guys on the sideline complaining or getting frustrated with each other. Nobody liked the fact that happened, but I respect how they responded in the moment. They forced Georgia Tech to have to play the next snap, and our defense did their part of it to be able to hold them to a field goal. So that was a big point of emphasis for us, and we try to point those things out throughout the course of the season, whether it's us or it's another another team and another opponent, that those effort plays where they do show up, and that's what those are those identity moments, and I think that our team and yes, our quarterback showed that identity in that situation.
All right, next will be Hassan on the second row.
Yeah, Coach, when it comes to evaluating Miami, last 2 weeks ago they had 8 turnovers, last week no touchdowns and 4 overtimes, and then QB uncertainty. So how do you evaluate them? Like, do you watch past games, or how do you go and evaluate them to get ready for this one? Yeah,
you look at the total package of their season, and obviously they've had quarterback was hurt, and it's been something that anytime a quarterback goes down, it's a challenge. But this is a very talented football team. With Van Dyke, we're expecting him to play this week. We're going to go through and obviously we'll have a plan for Garcia and for him. two guys that are very talented, doing some, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, and they've got weapons. And this is a team. I mean, this is a talented football team we're playing. They were the preseason pick to win the division, and that wasn't just because of hope for it. I mean, this is a team that we know the ability that they have. It can be a very explosive offense. Just like anybody, if there's mistakes that show up, I mean, it's going to hurt them. And in the Duke game, it was tough. You turn the ball over eight times. It's hard to have much success. And they're going to address that. They're going to continue to go. And I mean, I know yesterday, or I guess it was Saturday's game, they new starting quarterback, some things you work through in that, but they found a way to win the game, and to do that on the road, I mean, you respect that, and ultimately, we've got to continue to focus on us. I mean, we watch everything from this year. You study the personnel from last year, guys that have come from different places, just to try to get as much information as possible. But I mean, this is a talented team.
We'll go to Corey on your right.
Did Johnny apologize to that DB for that vicious offensive pass interference? Did you get any? What do you say in the moment? When
You don't want to know what I said in the moment.
Right.
I can't. Yeah.
Talking about response, that play in particular, I mean, it was what it was. We all saw it. The very next play to go hit and score a touchdown. Is that what you're talking about when you're trying to see growth and what?
Absolutely right. And it's not just that. It's also who it was too, because the previous drive, Lawrence, he uncharacteristic of him, he put the ball on the ground. We had had a turnover the previous drive. We get the ball, go. Obviously, the big play with Cam. We get called for the penalty. No matter what your feelings are about it, I mean, yes, I had my emotional moment, but you still go to the next play. And for our football team, for all the things, you set back a 2nd and 22, I believe it was, and they played the next play, and they were able to go out and execute, and got the ball into the end zone on the very next play. That is response, and it's response in the moment. It's also a response for LT, and from the negative play to go out there and make an exceptional play. That shows growth. It shows that you're not going to let one play negatively affect you on the next play, and that's what we have to continue to be consistent in. And I think that also showed up throughout the course of you look early in the first quarter. We had talked about it. We talked about it as within media and within our team of like. You get to this point of the season, and there's some teams that, a bad play will continue to stack up upon itself because of little fundamental issues, and that's why you have to stay so tuned in to those little things as the season continues to progress of what's important, what do you want to be able to execute and how you're growing through that season, because when one bad thing happens, you see those stacking up in a lot of college football games you'll hear late in the season. And so for us, we didn't start the game the way we wanted to, and we had a couple drops early. We got down to the 1 yard line, and we fumbled. I mean, that was a terrible start. But our guys kept playing. They kept believing, and we ended up having one of the best offensive performances. Overcoming that, because we didn't hang our head in that moment, but we went and made the corrections that were necessary. So I think we are seeing growth, and we got to continue to see that growth as we progress along.
All right, next will be Kurt, front row on the right.
Watching the game and going back and watching the game, really blown away, impressed by the linebacker play in that game. Felt like a lot of them made flash plays. Just that group, I know you thought what they could be coming into the year. What's it been like watching them? What's that a testament to Coach Shannon and how those guys just feed off each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really talented group. It's a group that they love playing the game, and you're seeing great growth, great leadership. Kalen, Tatum, DJ. I tell you, I was Brandon Gantz got in there. I was really pleased seeing seeing Amari Gaynor get back on the field, and the way that he flew around there late. I mean, it's because he came, he missed I guess it was 4 or 5 weeks of the season, with an injury, but to see him go out there and play with the speed and physicality that he did, excited about getting him back more into the fold of what we're doing defensively. We try to move him around. He played a little bit of defensive end, rush end, and I like that. But I like that group. I like how they're taking to the coaching. I think we're doing a good job schematically and what we're trying to do to be able to to free them up, and then you obviously get, you know, the defensive front does, when they're doing their job, it allows those guys to really be able to run around. And you know, I thought Fabian, it was great having him back. You know, you felt his presence on the field. You saw, I mean, you know what he brings, and you know, even though a lot of those guys, you know, up front were on maybe a limited snap count, but I mean, they were very productive in what they did and help open up some things for the linebackers.
Come back over here to Brendan.
How did Fabian do coming out of the game as far as at the foot, and then Trayshawn Ward and I guess Justin Turrentine left the game, so I'll get all the injury questions out.
Yeah, you know, it was, you know, Fabian's, you know, came out really well. I mean, to be honest, he actually, it was there in the game, he actually had his other foot, you know, had a big toe got stepped on, so he wasn't real comfortable, you know, but it wasn't anything to do with his injury, that he was coming off of. So, I mean, it's good, and I saw him yesterday, and, you know, he was walking a little gingerly on the other toe, but, you kind of just smiled and was like, all right, let's go get it. And, but, you know, he's gonna be great going into this week, and, you know, just, with Jazz and, you know, coming out of the game, you know, we'll see how he progresses through the week, but, and then Trayshawn, I mean, he was, you know, more active yesterday. We're expecting him to hopefully be available. You know, he did a lot there on Friday. Just wasn't ready to play in the game. So, you know, we'll see where he goes throughout the course of the week. And you know, any other guys that are, we didn't really have anything, you know, big picture. But you know, we'll see how it all goes through this week.
Stay here for Chris.
You spoke earlier on Miami's defense and said they were dominant against Virginia. What do they do so well, and who are a couple guys that kind of get your eye?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think for them it starts up front. I mean, they've got a big, strong, you know, athletic defensive, you know, front. I mean, they play a good number of guys. They've, you know, 7 or 8 defensive linemen. They roll them good. They keep them fresh. You know, those guys are very active. You know, they create the negative play. Definitely be a challenge for us, you know, up front. You know, you look at them in the defensive backfield. I mean, they got great length. I mean, guys that you know, have really good experience, and you know, do a good job of getting hands on receivers, trying to disrupt you know, disrupt timing. You know, they're aggressive in how they play, and then, you know, their linebackers have been active this year, and you know, those guys can run around, and you know, obviously they've got some newcomers that have joined the program on the defensive side of the ball that have made a really good impact, and you know, this is like I said, it's a talented defense that has pretty good depth.
All right, Carter.
What did you see the win over Miami do for you guys last year as a program, and how have you guys kind of grown since that moment, you think?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big game for us a year ago. I mean, it was, you know, going in the game, we were, you know, we had a challenging start, and really, you know, we're kind of coming into our own, but we needed that type of game. You know, we just, you know, come off of you know, a challenging stretch, but I mean, we had seen some good, we'd seen some bad, and you know, that rivalry game and just the emotion and all the things that went into it, to see our guys overcome in a game that had swings in it, and you know, we started really well. You know, Miami made their comeback and, you know, took the lead, and then our guys were able to respond there at the end, and it was big for this football team. I think it was a confidence builder. You know, it had been a few challenging years before, and we know the importance of this game, and there's everybody in this program. And this is a game you'll remember the rest of your life, and you know, it's you know, the preparation of it didn't begin just, you know, yesterday. I mean, this is a year-long preparation for this game, and you know, there's only 2 teams that I talk about in our very first team meeting, and this is one of them. And you know, understanding the things that are necessary to be ready when this week gets here, what you need to do from day one to now, and it's that continued growth, that continued development. And now, you know, this week we've got to have our best week in our preparation, and all things, you know, being ready to go on the road and go play our best game.
We'll go to the back right corner for Aslan.
You know, in that same vein, Coach, I know the game is ultimately between the 2 teams that are on the field, but you know, their coach is on a first year of a rebuild. He's trying to prove to his fan base and his constituents that, you know, he's the right man. And you're also in the year 3 of the rebuild and kind of proving yourself as well. There's just so much riding on this game, and how do you kind of process the opportunity and just, you know, what this game can mean for you, and just displaying. And it's also recruiting heads up, and you're trying to also convince kids off the field as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a big game. It's a big game because it's this game, and you know, every year, it doesn't matter what's happened up till that point. I mean, this is a game that you want to win, and you want to go out and you want to play your best. And you know, I think that, you know, there's there's a lot of excitement around our program for what we've shown and where in the path of where we're going, and that's something that that doesn't all point to one game, but it does. You've got to be able to continue to show those steps, and I think our guys have done that. We're excited for the opportunity to compete in this one, and I really what they're doing and what their process, that's for them. I care about what we're doing and the steps that of what we're investing in all aspects to be the best we can be, and I promise you we're gonna put everything we have into this to go be our best this week, because it is a huge game for not only this team, for our fan base, and for everything that this game deserves for the great rivalry that it is.
Stay in the back for Ryan.
Coach, you already brought it up, but 2 years ago when you guys went down there and you had to stay home, you talked about how tough that was and how difficult it was to just watch that game from afar. But from where your program is now to where it was then, and your second game as head coach, where do you feel like your program has grown the most?
In all ways. I mean, it's night and day different. I mean, that we were at the beginning of trying to develop some sort of identity, some sort of standard. We were coming off. It was a difficult time for our program, just for all the change that we had seen, and then dealing with COVID, and each game, we were coming off of a difficult first loss, and then I don't get to make the trip. It was just it all sucked. I mean, I don't know how to better way to put it. I mean, it was awful, and to see going through those experiences, they still all were necessary experiences for us to grow. And I think that our team, I'm proud of this team. I told them last night, I love guys that are willing to believe in something and then willing to work to go and achieve to get better. And this team, I know we touched on the identity. They care. They really care about each other. They really care about their performance. They really care about trying to get better and to represent this football program the way it deserves to be represented. And we've had to go through it. And it's not been an easy stretch, but it's been one that's it's very gratifying to be able to stand in that locker room. And I'm not just the times where you get the chance to have a victory, but the time even in those challenging moments, but that the heart, the character, the investment, just how much these guys are pouring into it, and you see how close it is, and that's what has me so excited about our future. And I know where we're going, and but these are those moments where you get to take another step, and we need to do that here again this week.
We'll come back to Kurt on the front row.
I know when Jordan was first starting out as the starting quarterback, he kind of had to learn how to not take those hits and maintain his body. Brendan talked about it, the couple blocks he threw. Is that something you talked about maybe being wary of doing that, or is that you want to take kind of that passion, that how he plays in all facets, and you don't kind of control him in that regard?
No, I mean I want him to be smart. I mean I think that I appreciated I appreciate effort. I appreciate physicality. I appreciate toughness that he puts on display. But there's great times and places for that as a quarterback that you need to be aware of. And Jordan got up and he had a big smile. I mean, I have a feeling what my facial expression was to him, but he smiled and gave me a thumbs up. And I love a competitor. And Jordan's a competitor, and he's going to do the things that are necessary to help us achieve success. And when you're sitting there and you're a running back or you're an offensive lineman, you're a receiver, and you see your quarterback going and throwing his body into a defender to help gain a couple extra yards, you respect that too. And we definitely talked about it.
All right, we got time for two more. We'll go to Corey.
With Jordan in the way he's played, obviously he's been one of the better quarterbacks in the country. I know you referred to him as one of the best players, clearly just in the country. He seems on the field to be a little more demonstrative, whether it's on the sidelines or after having to call the timeout down there on that first red zone. And you said he was practicing angry. Has his personality changed in that regard? And I don't know, I know he always took it seriously, but have you seen any sign of?
I wouldn't say personality change, but it's because he's always had that. You feel it with him because he wants it so bad, and he works for it, and he really does. But I think that his ownership of the impact that he gets to make is what's really kind of grown, because he knows that, you know, he means so much to this team. And I'll use this, he means so much to this team on and off the field. Like, I think the second half of the Louisville game, he couldn't step on the field, but he made an impact in that game by the presence that he brought to the sideline, and the passion that he has to want and to will this team to win. And you know, he wants to play at the elite level. And so yes, last week I felt that he was going to do it. And I think even you guys, there's guys that asked me, you know, last week just watching practice. It's like, man, he's coming out and it was impressive watching him practice. So it wasn't a shock the way that he played Saturday. But I mean, I love that urgency, and you know, he's practiced so well throughout this year. But it's like, dang it, it's time to go. And I mean, he is just. I love that passion that he showed, and I mean, I guess angry was the best word that I could use to describe it, because that's what you feel is like. When he's pissed off, to go be better, and that's a great quality to have in a leader, and you know, guys fuel off of that, and you know, I just you know, I appreciate his work when it comes to that, and it's, I don't think it's changed his personality, but you know, I would say his ownership is just continuing to grow in it.
All right, last one, Ira.
Kind of a two-part question. Not really, just kind of a two-part question.
Can I ask another one?
Trick or treat.
I think it's only the second time he's had the microphone, though.
They're at least on the same topic. So, this game, you know, I know one game doesn't determine everything in recruiting, but how big is this game in terms of recruiting, because it's played down there also? And then also, when you guys are looking at, you know, numbers in recruiting right now, like the transfer portal's become such a big deal. How do you set a limit on how many high school guys you're gonna take, or if they're players you want, you gotta take them and figure out the rest later?
Well, I mean, you got to evaluate, and our roster and roster management is as as unique of a time as it's ever been. And you know you try to project what you think could happen, but then you're always going to have to be able to respond to what the reality becomes. And you know, so you've got. I spent a lot of time with this, and just and it's part of the reason why we've expanded our personnel department, and just to be able to explore all different options. And you know, Derek and I, we talk about this a lot, and during the bye week we spent a great amount of time, you know, how this could project for this year, next year, you know, even in future classes. And you know, we're going to take the best fits for Florida State. And you know, there's times that you got to have real conversations, you know, in recruiting of guys that. You know, that you recruit, that it might start off, you know, in one way, and then, you know, a number changes or something comes up, and you got to have real conversations. But for us, you know, we don't have just a target number saying that we know guys that we believe can come in and help our program immediately. Guys are going to be great for our program. That are coming from the high school ranks, and you know, just being able to fill the needs that we have, and that you know that we could have. And if there's a right player that is in the transfer portal, if there's a right player that you know, that might have a little you know, more experience, or can come in and make that an immediate impact that still fits, you know, our locker room and what we're building, then you know, obviously we will explore all those things as they come. When it comes to this game, yes, it's huge. I mean, the state of Florida is, you know, the greatest state in the country when it comes to talent and you know, quality players that we get to recruit. And you know, we've done a great job, I think, you know, this year, and the guys that, you know, we've been able to attract, and you look at a lot of the great players that are here currently on our roster that are making early impacts in their career. And so you know, I'm excited about the relationships that have been built. But this is a big game, because you know, every kid in the state of Florida, you know, this is one of those games that they're going to watch, and they're going to make sure that, you know, whatever side that they grow up, you know, cheering for. I mean, there's going to be, it's bragging rights. It's something you're going to hear about for the next 365 days, and you know, it's a big game for our program. And you know, we want to go, and we want to play our best. That's what we want to do. And you know, to be able to go do it on the road, and it's exciting week in preparation, and you know, but it is big for recruiting. It's big for our program, and just continuing to take those steps.